2.3 Nigeria Info. I am Kalada Kurubata, but we just rounded off the big stories segment, and now it's time for us to look at our first topical conversation for today. And I want us to talk about the electoral sector. There is to talk about electoral reform. Now, during Buhari's time, I remember, Buhari won in 2015. And I think 2016, 17, 18, thereabout, that time, that duration, there was the talk about amending the Electoral Act. And, there was the back and the forth. And then it was only 19, and Assembly at the time, it was the 8th National Assembly, had, arranged the document and transmitted it to the president at the time, Muhammadu Buhari. And he declined, and he said, it's too close to the election, and so there's nothing that can be done. And after the 2019 election, everywhere was quiet as regards electoral reforms. And then about a year or two later, the conversation started all over again, and eventually there was the amendment, and that was what we used for the 2023 election. Over the years, from 1999, even way back to 1993, or should I go away any issue in the country, elections have always been around our society and go bad. And a lot of people were really sad due to the Electoral Act, they blamed the law, and that little for the corruption for instance, stopping movements, stopping these. There was not that. Police here, police there, none of that. They didn't put war. They solid election. Learn from the election. What can we learn from the UK election? What can we learn? I guess they're asking for more reforms. They are asking for more reform. At this time, and their argument is that they should have something like a voter's card to ensure that voting, oh my goodness. Anyways, let's read the article. Ahead of the future elections in the country, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has recommended the use of computer generated voting slips by those who do not have the permanent voter cards, PVCs. Speaking yesterday in Abuja during the quarterly consultative meeting with resident electoral commissioners, RECs, INEC chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu said PVCs should no longer be the sole requirement for voting, especially with the introduction of the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS. Yakubu said the commission, having released its 524-page main report on the 2023 general elections, it had consulted widely with its officials and externally with other major stakeholders. Yakubu disclosed that from the internal and external engagements, the Commission had identified 142 recommendations dealing with the general state of preparedness, voter management, voter education and public communication, political parties and candidate management, electoral operations and logistics management. Others are election officials and personnel, partnership and collaboration, monitoring and supervision, election technology, voting and result management, election security, electoral offences, and the electoral legal framework. He said out of the 142 recommendations, 86 require administrative action by Commission. This is followed by 48 recommendations that require action by a variety of stakeholders, including security agencies, mobile network operators, statutory bodies, political parties, transport unions, civil society organizations, and the media. He said on the legal review, there are 8 recommendations that require legislative action by the National Assembly. Very soon, the Commission will make a presentation to the Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives on electoral matters as they continue to deliberate on electoral reform. Among the major highlights of the Commission's recommendations is the imperative of legal clarity in result management with regard to manual transfer versus the electronic transmission of results. The Commission also believes that with the introduction of BVAS, the use of PVC as the sole means of identification for voter accreditation on election day should be reviewed. Those who already have the PVCs can still use them to vote, but going forward, computer-generated slips issued to the voter or even downloaded from the Commission's website will suffice for voter accreditation. This will not only save costs, it will also eliminate the issues around the collection of PVCs and the diabolical practice of buying up the cards from voters in order to disenfranchise them. Early voting for journalists, other essential workers. I'm up for voting for journalists as well. And then it goes ahead to say the review report also contains recommendations on early and special voting for the millions of Nigerians who do not vote at the moment on account of the roles they play during elections, such as INEC officials, security personnel, ad hoc staff, observers, and journalists who are deployed outside the places where they are registered to vote. There are also recommendations in support of diaspora voting, the unbundling of the Commission with the establishment of Electoral Offences Tribunal, and a separate agency to handle the registration and regulation of political parties. Similarly, the Commission will step up action on voter access and distribution to polling units, he added. The INEC chairman also disclosed that as a matter of urgency, the Commission intends to develop protocols for the cleaning up of the voters' register in collaboration with other agencies such as the National Identity Management Commission and the National Population Commission. Anyways, it's a long read. But however, he's recommending administrative and legislative changes to the Electoral Acts, about 146 of them. But the question is, are these laws... let's not even generalize it. Let's personalize it. Let's make it parochial now. Is the Electoral Act really deformed, so to say? Or is it that our systems are manned by people who would not let corruption be history? Once again, is the Electoral Act so deformed? The current one, is it so deformed that we cannot have a smooth electoral system with it if we don't change it? Because that was what was said before it was changed by the National Assembly, and look at where we are. We're still arguing about whether we have a fantastic electoral system or not. And by the way, we are the giant of Africa, right? That's one way to look at it. And I'm asking, is that the case? Or is it that we have men who man these systems, who are not called to consequences, or are not made to take consequences for their actions, because the system is characterized by corruption? And that's the conversation I want to have. So are you on the side of yes, we should reform and we should have this? All the things, diaspora voting for journalists. I'm up for that one, because I think I've been disenfranchised in the last two elections, if I remember vividly. So yeah, do you also think we should phase out or not make PVCs the only way for voting, identification for voting? Several things that were said in that report. You can go read the report online and come back and tell me what you think. Do we need more reforms, or do we need our men to be men of integrity? And if someone says, let's go digital, let's digitize the transmission of results, it can be hacked. It can be tampered with. So is it the system? Is it the structure? Or is it corruption? I would like to hear from you. I'm going for a quick commercial. When I return, I don't know why I'm choking, but when I return, you and I will have a conversation and we will talk, and I'd like to hear from you. Please do stay tuned. not going to say much because we had a very long commercial, and so I'm just going to go straight into taking your reactions to that conversation. Reforms, or should we have a mind shift, a paradigm shift in how we do things, especially with the electoral sector, the electoral system? So I like to get your thoughts. I like to get your thoughts. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007. The WhatsApp number is 0809-030-6416. For those of you joining, you're welcome. This is 92.3 Nigeria Info. That's the frequency. Hard Facts is the show. I am Kalada Korubatabo, and we are looking at electoral reforms. Is it the way to go? Is it what we should be talking, or should we be thinking of changing personalities and paradigm shifts in terms of corruption and all of that stuff? But let's read some messages before I take my first call. INEC should hide their face in shame. Nigerians no longer take them and their so-called policy. This fact is better for them. Christian Williams, the new chairman, because it's I think a 5 years, 2 terms situation. This says, well, as with the heads of Nigerian government agencies, the INEC chairman is always trying to introduce his own policy, which will, in the end of the day, require the release of funds that will eventually be looted. I don't see any issues with our current electoral laws, except for massive corruption in the system and the lack of will to implement the electoral laws. Mike from Thai. Mike, you don't agree with him that there should be diaspora voting? People who are outside the country should vote. I mean, I wonder why they want to, because they're outside. But yeah, do you think they should vote as well? Secondly, there is a talk about the PVC not being the only identification form. Rather, there should be on the sports computer-based tickets that can allow you vote as well. They're looking at that. Maybe those are not so bad. And talking about releasing funds, the INEC boss has just got 1 more year. So, I mean, what can he loot in your terms? What can he loot? But this one says there's nothing wrong with the current Electoral Act. We just have terrible people manning the system. Rather, they should specialize in looking for loopholes in the Electoral Act to sabotage the whole process. Imagine Yakubu telling Nigerians transmitting the results can be done both manually and electronically. By citing relevant section of the Electoral Act, it is quite unfortunate that the terrible people manage the system, men with no integrity. Yakubu has done more disaster than good ever since he assumed that a secret seat, Onyeka from Rumudara. But Onyeka is in your Electoral Act that you can do it both ways. It was argued in court, and I mean the argument held water. It held sway. But this is Chief K. The truth is that all those saddled with the responsibility for making laws and reforms will not make certain laws and implement it while in office, because it will hunt them while in office. They only become activists when they are out of office. They know the right thing to do, but because of selfish reasons, they won't do it. Nigeria needs an electronic voting system from ECTA. My first call, 92.3 Nigeria Info. Your name, your location, your contribution.
Yeah, this is Isaiah George. From Buguma and Calabar.
Isaiah,
just like I want to say, already people have already started making such contribution through the social media website. You see, no system is run by itself. All you see in Google, everywhere, being downloaded by persons. So it is we, the human, that runs the system. So even the ones that were reformed before now, we are all systems that we, the human figures, we are the ones who bastardized our system and brought about these ones that we have. And now we want to also drop and reform. We have not reformed ourselves. See, there is a lot of mal activities in the national INEC body and all their men. You understand? The issue of compromise is there. The issue of fraud is there. The issue of manipulation of results, cutting away, aiding and abetting. Name them. There are so many. when you don't work on yourself and you are working a system that looks to be transparent before the people, why you, the person that, see, tell me any machine, any scientific or any form of machinery that is not being manned by human person. Behind it, you must see a human figure. So if that human figure is manipulating, tell me how you cannot disrupt and truncate that system before you. That is
but then again, Isaiah, if we have a system that is strong enough, don't you think it will be too difficult for what you've said to happen? This meant to disrupt the system or cause discord of some sorts in the process.
The Western countries that we keep referring and taking examples from, why are we commending them? This is what we need to ask ourselves. What is working for them that is not working for us? What is working for them that we cannot locate and make sure that those things work in our own midst and make things right for us? These are things, not just commended. When you hear election in Ghana, hear election in America, you are good to comment. You can go there.
I've got to go, Isaiah.
Ideas, and you come here to put those ideas in a workable.
Problem, you say. JJ is calling from Port Harcourt Township. JJ, welcome. What is on your mind?
Yeah, Mr. Kalada, I greet you.
I greet you right back. It's afternoon. Good afternoon to you.
Kalada.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Before the election, we were told that if anybody buy 2 forms, that the person will go to jail for 2 years, true or false? Out of the electoral law.
Something like that.
Somebody told us that he bought form for everybody. The person is now.
But the person didn't buy in his name. He didn't buy 2 forms in his name, did he?
Fine, that is one part.
Okay.
You remember the former Senate President, Lawal, what was that his other name?
Ahmed Lawal. Ahmed Lawan.
Lawal, God bless you. Ahmed Lawal contested presidency, right? The president, right? How did he now return to come back to the Senate? I think Akpabi also contested presidency or president, and today is the Senate president. So how did he do it? Is it that he used another name like JJ to buy and use his name to buy for for the president? So these are the issues.
So I think there was the JJ. See, in law, there are ways to argue this thing. So I can't remember exactly what the argument was. I think he stepped down as presidential candidate. I'm going somewhere.
But he bought
I'm going somewhere.
After the time he stepped down, I'm coming. After the time he stepped down, there was already closure for the
there wasn't. There wasn't actually.
Oh my God.
No. So what there
were primaries.
So they had to. Yes, they had to do another. That's what I'm trying to say. They had to do another primary. Same thing with Akpabio. They had to do another primary to entertain these so-called big wigs. Of course, the system.
Was that what the law says?
So I think.
I don't understand.
JJ. So JJ, like I said, there was the loophole. There was a way they went around it. It wasn't as linear as you make it seem. I just can't remember the argument anymore, but I knew there was a way around it. JJ is laughing. Yeah, I'm listening.
We joke too much in this country.
Of course we do. Of course we do. I've got Lawson. I hope Lawson is not going to joke as well. But Lawson is calling from Yenigua. Welcome. What's on your mind?
Kalada, the problem with Nigeria is that I think it has nothing to do with our laws. We have so many laws.
Okay.
Even in the Constitution, when you look at from the Clifford Constitution to the 1999 Constitution, go and count it. How many? Look at Ghana. Look at the election in Ghana. The collation process that the Ghanaians used was copied from Nigeria.
Oh, really?
At the end of the day, they did that election. Look at the vice president, serving vice president. Congratulating is the opponent even before the Electoral Commission will announce results.
Because he trusted the system. Because he trusted the process, I guess.
He trusted the process. In Nigeria, we don't want to accept the fact that we were beaten for the simple reason that we were not popular enough. We don't accept that at all. Clearly, even where we have seen that we failed, we will still want to go to court.
All right.
Look at after after the election in Edo State, look at what Olumide Akpata came out to say on national television. One man I respect so much in Nigeria. He said clearly the people of Edo State came out, you understand, to sell their vote. That's what he said on national television. That there is no issue where the Edo people came out to sell their vote.
So it wasn't listen, so he was saying it's not the process that was at fault, but the people who sold their votes, if I understand you clearly.
Yes, the people who sold their votes to the highest bidder.
Okay.
That was the problem. That's the problem he had. And that's why he said he's not going to go to court.
Okay. All right.
He's not going to go to court. We don't, the same beavers that we use. It's what they do. Look at even the election in Senegal. Jonathan is the only man so far in Nigeria that have come out to accept a process and now. But
even that process was said. Even that process was said to have been flawed. I mean, the election Jonathan lost was.
That's not what Jonathan said.
Okay.
It is you who said.
No, I'm not the one. I'm saying it was said. I'm quoting what people have said. I'm not.
It was said, but Jonathan, who was a major runner in that election, came out and accepted the results, moved on.
All right, thank you. Lawson, I've got to go. I've got to go. Thank you very much. I've got to go.
The problem is not the laws, but the Nigerian people.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Muriel from Okrika. Muriel, welcome. Welcome to join this heated debate. What side are you on, Muriel?
Oh, KDB, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on my own side. KDB, well, you said INEC, they are telling us that only PDC may not be required, to vote.
Yeah.
We may need other things to vote, right? What did they give us any option?
They said, just the way the POS will print your debit slip after you've withdrawn money, that's how they will on the spot print a slip, a computer-based slip for you that will identify you at the polling center. I guess that's what I understand by what I've read. Yeah, so that's what it is.
All right, KDB. Why don't they just go back, just go straight to electronic voting? Let's just accept electronic voting. I just came back from work now, in my home, relaxed. I will just listen to the 2 candidates or 3 or 4 candidates and just vote.
But do you think electronic is without its problems? Hacking, all of that, result changing while it's in transit, and all of those things can be done. Just like when someone wires you money, while it's on the way, the hacker or the Yahoo boy can, intercept it and take the money. It's the same thing. Do you think it's going to be free of corruption?
What? Can it be considering the 2 options? Which one is better?
I have no idea. I can't tell you. I have no idea.
I think digital is better. The chances, as human with digital than this manual pattern we are doing. Just spend people and spending so much money, on INEC just to keep people down, just to carry voting material, just to carry security. It's going to be, I think, between the 2 options, digital is better. I know in the minds of, I wish, or let me just say in the minds of INEC, they would have prepared us, to use our bank statement to vote, so that they will know, whether it's those that are financially capable that are voting for APC, and those that are broke are voting for PDP, or the reverse may be the case.
All right.
I wish they would even want us to let's use our local government identification letters or something, but they are just all joking, honestly.
All right, thank you very much. I've got Clinton from Bori. Clinton, welcome. Clinton, what's on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
My brother Kalaba, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
You see, we are Nigerians. We complain about virtually everything.
Okay.
People are saying now that the electoral system is flawed. Brother Kalada, there is no system in the world that doesn't have its frailties. No system is perfect. Even the Bible has stated it. That we are not perfect, we should try to be what? Perfect. And what will make it to be perfect? It is us, the electorate, that will help the system. Yes, you want electronic voting. You know that that's the easiest way to hijack elections. If you're popular in your unit, in your ward, in your local government, in your state, it is very easy, very difficult for you to be rigged out. But whether you're popular or you're not popular, electronic voting, you can easily rig anybody out.
All right.
Electronic voting.
All right.
So we should try and support the system. Our electoral laws are good enough, but the problem remains implementation. Those umpires, the police, the INEC, even the electorate, do we have the will to ensure that the system is transparent enough? It is us. It's the will. The will that is not there. If not, the laws are there to guide the process, but we'll bend the laws to suit our narratives.
All right.
So that's just it. Nigerian people, let's just try and stop all this vote buying, vote selling, and ensure that we have a perfect system. We are the ones aiding and spoiling things for ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Clinton from Bori. I'll read some few more messages and then I'll have to wrap things up. This one says, you're making... Did I make a defense? But that's even, by the way, it's an old conversation. This is, I think electoral reform is far important than tax reform. Opposition parties should rise up and ensure that the National Assembly authenticates constitutional provision for electronic transmission of results and display of same on viewing portals. Opposition presidential candidates won election in America and Ghana because of sound electoral system. Time to act is now. Victor from Egbema. Even in the UK, opposition won, just so you know. All right. Why do you keep sending the same message? We've moved. Oh, okay. It's not the same. I get it now. He said, you're making a defense for Akpabio and Lawan. The problem still remains, not just with our electoral law, but our courts of law, by using technicality to shortchange the whole process. Akpabio and Lawan came back by technicality of the court of law because both candidates brought presidential and senatorial ticket when which is an aberration, you say. It is quite unfortunate. Onyeka from Rumudara, I am not making a defense for anybody. I'm reporting what is out there. And I said they had the argument. I can't remember what the argument is, but they had, and you call it technicality, but they call it sound argument. So they had an argument, and the court said, yes, you hold a good argument. And so, I gave it to you. But let's come back here. You say... Okay, I think I've read the message already. I would have to go. We've got announcements to make, so please do stay tuned.